Hello, my Teaserking family. How the hell is everybody today? So I got busy yesterday, so we are on today, and I'm looking at gold, and it's just like, what the hell happened? 32.12, not 33. We've been at 33.30, and it lost like $100, but it's paper, not physical. Nobody is selling a physical ounce of gold. This is all done derivatively and probably algorithms and shit like that. It did pop back up at 10 o'clock. The U.S. just buy, and now it's down. And do you worry? No, because it's not real gold going down. Do we worry? Well, why? And the reason is some people can buy it. Think about it. I sell it. I want the price down when I want to buy. So this is just a buying opportunity by somebody. I assume the U.S. Um, but, I don't really know who at this point. Just a second. So we don't know who. 32.10. At least it's staying into the 32s. Now, it ran a lot. I mean, it was 30,000, 3,200, 33, 34.90. So somebody made a lot of money on the derivatives going up. And now all they're doing is they're making money on the derivative going down. They're shorting it. Eddie Murphy. They sold the orange juice at 142 and they're buying it at 26. But again, it was just based on emotion and not really any reason. It's an arbitrary price, the orange juice at 26 in trading places. This is an arbitrary number, 32.10. It's just arbitrary. It's not a real price. So we know that physical is much, much higher. The physical is way up here, but we don't even know what that number is. And 32.10, and I noticed Bitcoin was up and the stock market's kind of even. So let's see what Bitcoin's doing. The world of illusion. It's at 97,153. Why is that up? Why is gold down? These are unknowns. These are bullshit. This is what I try to warn you. It's not real. Let's see. So 32.10 is not a real number, but we know it's going to go up because of all the brics, and the brics going gold back July 17th. I know we keep saying, well, it was going to do it in October. Well, they did do it. China did come out with gold-backed stablecoin, and they are trading with Brazil and India with it. Russia's got their gold-backed currency playing with Iran, and they are doing it. So it is out there. They just don't want to announce it for fear of the U.S. David, good morning. So it's out there, the gold-backed currency. And I don't know who's dumping these derivatives because they have to settle. In other words, China's asking for delivery, or Russia, or the other side of this trade is a buy, and they're asking for the delivery. So I don't know what the hell these people are doing. They don't have the gold to cover the delivery. And July 1st, there'll be Tier 1 Basel III for U.S. silver and gold. Where are they going to get the gold from? I mean, and I assume they make money on these because they're not one contracts. They're selling 100 contracts, 500 contracts. So they do make money on this. It's extremely risky. Um, and we'll see. But at what point, don't they think 32.10 is low? Aren't they like, okay, we got to start buying now? So this is all bullshit. Look at silver, 32.30. Why is silver down to 32.30? Silver's $1,000, metal. It's $1,000 currency. 32.30. I mean, are these people serious? They think we're all a bunch of idiots that we don't know what's going on. So yeah, okay, gold's starting to come back, 32.10 to 32.12. We will see. Now, yeah, it can only go down so much and then it gets eaten up and the buyers will come in. And China's getting hurt by the tariffs, maybe, but they're not selling gold. This is not I'm selling physical. This is I'm selling paper. So don't panic about, oh, gold's going down. It's not. It's the derivative paper that's being manipulated. That's why I show you trading places. When orange juice started at 102, went up to 142, and ended at 26. Nothing makes rhyme or reason. Why was it at 102 to start the session? Then it climbs up because they think, why would anybody buy into, we didn't hear the crop report yet. That makes no sense. Nobody does that. And then it's 142 and and then I don't know, the crop report had come out yet. But anyway, at 142, they're selling Eddie Murphy, and and I think the crop report came out at it was like 110, and then everybody sold. Well, why would they all buy? Are they insane? Well, the crop report's about to come out. Oh, let me buy it because I'm sure it's going to be bad. I mean, you don't know. So that whole thing, and then it ends at 26, and it's all emotion based. It should have ended at 102 because that's where it started the day, which would have assumed that there's nothing with the supply. Anyway, 32.11, and all right, let's get out of here. Well, let's check. So Bitcoin's up for no reason, and the Dow's up 237 to 40,900. Let me guess. Oh, we don't see any problems. We don't see any problems with that. No, I guess it's at 41,006. Okay. I guess we don't see any problem with inflation because we think inflation's prices, right? Here's what kills me is I'm looking, they show some stocks and it's got like Caterpillar at 315. Caterpillar should not be 315 with high interest rates. And then you see Nike at 57. Sherwin-Williams Paint at 354. What is that about? Home Depot at 361. It doesn't make sense. These stock prices. Disney at 91. Apple at 212. Well, I guess they're including Apple Plus, or they think they're going to make a lot of money on the streaming service. McDonald's 318. They serve you poisonous food. Who the hell eats there, and why would their stock be 318? To kill people. It's Coca-Cola at 71. I don't see Pepsi. These stocks are way, way overpriced. This is fantasy. Dow rallies nearly 325 points on gains in Microsoft, Nvidia. These are algorithms that are buying the stock based on price of the stock or the market value. So people who think that these are just going to go up and up and up and up, and they're just going to do what, red's going to hit, red's going to keep hitting at blackjack, at a baccarat, at roulette. How about that? Boy, oh boy. And that's the thing. They're insane. It doesn't just keep going up. They're not going to keep having earnings. These these are all fake because they're all analytics. There are algorithms putting it up. So people don't know what to do with their money. They're probably getting it out of the bank, but the Europeans are getting it out of the stock market. So this whole thing is phony baloney. I wouldn't trust this as far as I could throw it. So please be careful. Let's see if there's a story behind any of this. Hershey using every lever in the toolbox to reduce impact on cocoa tariffs. GM slashes profit outlook, sees tariffs costing up to $5 billion. Tariffs aren't going to cost you anything. The tariff goes to whoever makes the steel, not you. They don't even know how to use the tariffs properly. Estee Lauder lays off 2,600 workers. Why Microsoft stock is seeing an unusually large gain after earnings. Oh, we got to read this. Strong performance in the cloud, but it's also monetizing generative AI well and modernizing capital spending growth. So everything's based on AI. What is AI? Is AI really worth anything? I mean, I don't get where AI produces profits. I can't see. What does AI do? Get rid of me and somebody does budgets on a computer? Like the computer does the budget? Yeah, really? That's going to work? I don't know. I don't get it. I'm still struggling to see the benefits of AI. I see at Mercedes, they have robots producing. Well, that's been out there for 20 years. How are you going to sell stuff if there's the money's worthless and nobody has the money to buy it? Right? The tariffs are going to kill you if you try to sell overseas. So we're all just going to ignore the tariffs. We're going to focus on AI because that's better. And we're going to ignore inflation and say it's 2%. What is inflation? I don't know, but it's 2% because the government said so. God, there's so many stupid people here. It's really hard for me to go through a day and just talk to people and just bang my head into the wall like you're freaking idiots. I don't really know what to say. I can only say inflation is printing the money, and the money's been printed, and the money's worthless. And everybody's just going around, let's sell the gold derivatives and let's buy Bitcoin, even though we don't know what it is. I had a hell of a talk at Toyota the other day. So I wasn't on yesterday. So Tuesday, I go to Toyota. I had a 2-hour talk with the sales manager, the finance manager, and some kid who was a Bitcoin guy. They always give you the same thing. Well, if you're in Europe, though, I got it on my phone. How are you going to take $1 million worth of gold over the border? And I'm like, why am I taking $1 million worth of gold over the border? My gold is not getting cash. So I don't know what you're talking about, but it's the only argument they use. So I can just on my phone. Okay, how does it work? Well, I've got, $100,000 in Bitcoin and I can sell it. Okay, then what happened? Well, it goes into my bank. Oh, and then how do you get the money? Well, I have to do an ATM. I'm like, you know how much it's going to cost you to do an ATM? And are you going to do $1 million? No, you're going to do $500. I'm going to do the same thing with the $500 I have in my checking account. But I'm going to put $500 in cash in my wallet, and then I have my credit and debit cards. And they don't understand that. I go, those are not digital; those are electronic. All it is pulling my money out of my checking account electronically onto my debit card. And if I get money out of ATM, because in Europe you need the euro and not the dollar, I go to an ATM and I get the money out. Although the costs of them are very expensive, especially Deutsche Bank in Germany. If you're ever in Germany, be careful of Deutsche Bank. Very big charges to get your money on the ATM. But basically, there's no advantage that you're in Europe that, oh, I have $1 million in Bitcoin or I have $1 million in gold. First of all, I don't need to carry my gold with me as I travel. I says, well, what happens if you don't have internet, which happens a lot in Europe? I don't have internet at most. I don't have it unless I'm at a hotel or a restaurant where I'm constantly going, what's your password? Oh yeah, it's Costa Rica, hamburgers.1. And then you have internet. But if I'm not in the hotel or I'm not in the restaurant, I don't have internet. On the beach, you don't have an internet. Okay, so I'm in my hotel. Okay, what am I going to do with my Bitcoin? I'm going to, what is the big thing about I can get it in Europe on my phone? I don't understand the logic. I'm not going to take $1 million on the plane. Why would I? Oh my God. Anyway, so teaching them to get out of Bitcoin, or at least the sales manager and the finance manager, like, okay, when the dollar goes out, which it will, gold will be valued in gold. Gold is its own money. Bitcoin is not. So your $1 million in Bitcoin is worth what? It's not worth any. The dollars aren't worth anything. So now your Bitcoin's not worth $1 million because the dollar's not worth anything. What's your Bitcoin worth? Well, it's not like gold, where gold is money. Bitcoin is not money. We're not sure what Bitcoin is. We can't see it. So I don't believe that it's anything real. I keep watching where all these scams with Bitcoin, people steal, and Sam Bankman-Fried and Jim the Anvil Neinhart and all these guys steal and go to jail. And, and I don't know why everybody's so sold on it. Oh, I'm making money. Yeah, I'm making money doing nothing. It's going up, so I'm going to buy it because it's going up. And okay, so you bought it now at 80,000. It's at 95. Now what do you do? I'll just keep holding it and watch it go. It'll just keep going up because I don't know why. I don't know why it goes up. And that's the problem. You know why the Brady cards go up? Because of the demand. Demand has to force prices up. If there's no demand, as I said, it's not worth anything. So my Canadian club can only be worth something if somebody buys it. That's free market. I have Canadian club, I'm going to sell you. And I want $100 for it. Is there a buyer? And then I get a buyer, and then that's the market. This is worth 100. But it's not, if there's no buyer, there's no market. People don't understand that. And is somebody selling Bitcoin and somebody buying Bitcoin driving the price up? No. Is that happening in the stock market? No. Because of the middleman, you can sell your Coca-Cola, 1,000 shares. It goes to the middleman. It goes to Bernie Madoff. He buys it from you and waits for a buyer. And if there is no buyer, if there's no physical buyer, he's stuck with the shares. But that's what a market is. Let me get my cards. So again, here's Miro Lemieux rookie. What's he worth? In a free market, not this illusion that we're living in, this sells for what somebody wants to buy it for. If there's no buyer, it's worthless. If there's a buyer at 50 grand, it's worth 50 grand. It's worth whatever the buyer will buy it. I'm the seller. I have the card. I need a buyer. He buys it from me. If there's no buyer, this is worth zero. Well, it might be worth something that I paid for it. Let's say I paid 50 grand for it. I guess it's worth 50. However, then I can't sell it. And if I can't sell it, is it still worth 50? I think there has to be another buyer for it to have a value. Um, and so what you're dealing with in Bitcoin, and even in stocks have to be demand that pushes it up. But it's so diluted now where it's just algorithms doing it. It's not like real, it's algorithms. So some computer generated thing that's buying the stocks and or selling the stocks based on these ETFs and based on it's not me and you buying 100 shares of Disney. It's some algorithm based on ETFs doing the buying and the selling. That's pretty fucking dangerous. That's what you see in gold is the algorithm. The algorithm is selling right now, not people, and that's the danger of it. That's the problem I hate about algorithms is that in a free, I don't want an algorithm bidding on this. I want a real person bidding on it, and that's really how I see the problem. So we'll see how this all shits out. It's got to be bad. It can't be good. But I think in gold, there has to be physical gold to be. Um, at the end of the day, it's people buying and selling physical gold. I'm selling it like eBay, right? You got it. Problem is with eBay, they go off of the comex value instead of going off of, so you can't go and say $10,000 for gold. They're going to say, no, on comex, it's 3,200 now. So no, I'm not going to, I'm not going to buy it for 10 grand because it's not worth it. Somehow they got delusioned into believing that the comex price is the real price, that it's a free market. It is not. And as you see from Eddie Murphy, emotion stirred orange juice from 102 to 140 and 140 down to 29. How do you devise a price on that? Really? How do you come up with how do you say, okay, orange juice is $29 based on that mess? It's bullshit. You got to just leave it to the market, right? What is the market for this? What is it? If it's at the grocery store and I put $75 on it and somebody then buys it, that's the real price, not this derivative bullshit comex, which is such a price fixed thing. It's just terrible. The whole thing's just terrible. I noticed my dark chocolate, the cocoa went up. So my dark chocolate's like $4.50. I said, fuck you. I ain't paying $4.50 for a dark chocolate. So I go to Walmart where they're $2.50 and I buy another Swiss company's dark chocolate, $85.90 for half the price. So, I don't know. I just really don't know what to think. The whole thing's a mess. The whole system just is, it's blowing up. Before you're lucky if you had a millionaire. Now everybody and their brother is a billionaire, and then you got trillionaires. It's all worthless. This is what happens when the money's worthless. You get billionaires, even though the billion's worth $5, you still get it. Okay, let's go to the NBA. I was really hot the last 2 days. So if we look at, let's go back to 429. So on 429, I think I have a perfect day. Yeah, I have Milwaukee getting points. They're down 3-1. I think they're getting 5 or 6 points. They lose 119, 118, but they cover. I have Detroit getting, I think, 6-7 from the Knicks. Again, it's 3-1. Again, it's elimination. They actually win the game, which I wasn't expecting, 106, 103, but it covers. I got Boston kill and end the series, and that's they 120-89. They win by 30 points, laying 15 or something. And then I have Denver at home as a dog again, 131-115 to San Diego. And so what did we do here? We took elimination game Denver, they win. Elimination Detroit, they win. Elimination Milwaukee, they lose, but they cover because they're getting like 3 or 4, I think 3.5, 4 points. And so I hit all 3 of those, and then Detroit and then Boston at home up 3-1. They want to end the series, and they're going to kill them, and that's exactly what happened. So I hammered that. Boston was my really strong play, and Denver was. And then we get to yesterday, a big lock, Houston, 131-116. Houston getting points, I believe, or laying a point. They were down 3-1, had to win. Game 5 at home, must win. They win 131-116. And then Minnesota and the Lakers. I did have the Lakers. I think I lost. I think the Lakers were favored. No, Minnesota. Yeah, Minnesota was the play, I believe. Let's see. So the odds were Lakers minus 6.5. So I would have had to have Minnesota because, oh no, I probably played the Lakers because Minnesota was up 3-1. No, I don't know what I would have done because the Lakers were laying 6.5. That would have been, maybe I had them, but I definitely had Houston was my big play yesterday. All right, so let's go to today. We got the Knicks at Detroit. The Knicks lead the series 3-2. Detroit faced elimination and won. Detroit's minus 1.5 in this game. I love the Knicks off of the loss. Now it's weird because Detroit is facing elimination and won game 5 in New York, but I don't like Detroit as the favorite here. So I definitely like the Knicks plus 1.5. I think they end it here. Denver at San Diego. Denver now leads 3-2. San Diego is a 6.5 point favorite, and now you take San Diego, and this would be my lock today. San Diego laying 6.5 in an elimination game at home. They're gonna kill them. They're gonna kill them. They're gonna kill them. They're gonna kill them. Detroit and New York. It's hard to bet Detroit to kill New York, even though it's tied at 5 and they have to win. I think New York after the loss will be pretty pissed. But that's a small one, Detroit, New York. I like New York as the dog. But the real bet is San Diego tonight against Denver. Laying 6.5, but they have to win. And so they're going to pound them. And then it goes to game 7, and then Denver wins game 7 at home. I was listening to these BetMGM guys. They're the biggest idiots in the world. Well, I'm going to bet on the prop of how many points Joe Blow scores. Who the fuck cares? What a bunch of idiots. You're not even getting the right odds. Why are you betting all these, how many points somebody will score? Then they don't even get that the role players play better at home and don't play so good on the road. So San Diego's guys didn't play well in Denver, but they're going to play well at home. And Denver's role player will not play well in San Diego. They only play well at home. That's why they're role players. The crowd noise bothers them, and the court bothers them, and they're just not as good on there. The stars are, but not the role players. I think Detroit chokes in this because they haven't been in the playoffs in 20 years. So this is a big game for Detroit. And the Knicks want to end it. And they lost a close one the other day. So I think the Knicks, and they're getting 1.5. So I don't even have to lay. So believe me, the Knicks I like, but here is San Diego. And again, the role players play better at home than they do on the road, and that's usually the difference why I like the home team. But I got to have like Denver in game 5 was a beautiful bet. They had to win it or they'd go down 3-2 and now be facing elimination. So they had to take care of business in Denver. They did. San Diego now has to take care of business, and they will. Now with Detroit, they're just not as good as New York, and they got the win in New York, which was surprising. But now after a loss, New York will be pissed, and the fact that they're the underdog. So I like New York a little. I like LA, San Diego a lot. But that's how you bet the playoffs. Denver won. They cannot lose the series tonight. Clippers can. Clippers are going to come out and dominate. They're going to win by 20. They're just going to go out and beat, like, you can't lose. This is Art of War back against the wall. Denver can lose, and they're fine. They get game 7 at home. San Diego can't lose, or it's all over. So you're going to see San Diego play the game. Now, yesterday with the Lakers, it's LeBron. Luka Brasi is the worst player I've ever seen. That guy, he just dribbles by himself, doesn't get the team involved, and then he just kind of dribbles around and then takes a three-point shot. If I'm the coach, that guy never sees the floor. You pass the ball there, young man. You don't just dribble and then take a three-point shot. I don't want you taking three-point shots, and I don't want you not passing. Not on my team. And this is where the NBA, Isaiah, Bird, Magic, they'd all, but Kareem could pass. Bill Walton was a great passer. McHale. You want to play and you want to win. You think Red Auerbach would never take this guy, Luka Brasi. The guy would sit there and not pass and just take 5 dribbles and take a three-point shot. You're putting your own team to sleep. Are you kidding me? There's no ball movement at all. This guy's terrible. And I can see why Dallas got rid of him. And then I can see why the Lakers just lost the series, because this guy's just terrible. All right, so that's NBA. Take the Knicks and then back up the truck on San Diego and then follow it up with some gold and silver. Funny how silver dropped also. Like gold drop and silver drop. Now, silver's so cheap at 32. Why is it dropping? What the hell is going on? All right. So today, 5-1. I can't believe it's May 1st. 12:35, so a half hour. The Cubbies go to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh 125, 7.5. We've got Colin Ray, 1-0 with a .96 for the Cubbies. Paul Scanes, 3-2 with the 2.39. This will be our lock of the day. We're going Pitt under 7.5. I can't believe it's so high. Let's go 3 units on this. You've got, I know Scanes is an ace. I don't know Colin Ray, but he's 1-0 with a .96. So Pittsburgh doesn't hit. The Cubbies hit. The Cubbies ain't hitting Scanes. 7.5. We got to take it. Pittsburgh's not Wrigley Field. It's a little harder. So we're going Pitt under 7.5, 3 units. Get the play in quickly. All right. The Cardinals at Cincy again. Yeah, today's Thursday. It's early day. The Cards at Cincinnati. St. Louis minus 120.9. Matthew Liberatore 2-2 with a 3.19. Andrew Abbott 2-0 with a 3.60. St. Louis 4 hitters and Cincinnati 6 hitters. So there should be some hitting. It's pretty even. I'm going to take Cincinnati. They got better hitting. Not a bet, just taking them. KC, Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay minus 165.8. Seth Lugo, 2-3 with a 3.08. Shane Baz, 3-0 with a 2.45. Should be a pretty good. Well, Lugo with a 3.08. Can any team hit? Tampa Bay, 5 hitters. KC, 3. So again, well, let's go. Jesus Christ, Yeah, let's go under. Let's go TB under. I like TB Tampa, but I think they can hit. They should win the game, but they're 165s because they got the better hitting and they got the better pitching. So we'll see how it works. Arizona goes against the METS, Mets minus 170 and 8. Zach Gallen, 1-4 with a 5.57 against Cody Senga, 3-1 with a 1.26. So we're going to go with the New York Mets, and we'll make this 2 units. Arizona's got 5 hitters, and the Mets got a lot of hitters too. The Mets with 4. So we're just taking the Mets, but we believe Senga will shut down Arizona with his 1.26 ERA. Zach Gallen with a 5.57. The Mets should hit him pretty good. Should. Again, we're dealing in average, right? So even the 4 guys on the Mets who hit over 275, you know, you got Lindor. They could still go 0 for 4, but then what gets you is the 180 hitter getting 3 hits, and you're like, how is he hitting 180? And how are you so stupid that you're pitching to you're pitching to the 300 hitter? You should be walking him, and then you don't know how to pitch to the 170 hitter, and he gets 3 hits off of you. I mean, this is just how bad the managing is. You find the guy's weakness and you throw him. That's what it's curveballs. It's high heat, low heat. Just stupid managing. Too much on analytics. It's killing all the sports. Minnesota 115 and 9. Minnesota Cleveland at Cleveland. Simon Richardson 2-2 with the 407. Ben Lively 1-2 with the 440. Minnesota 1 hit. Well, I'm gonna say they have 2 hitters, and Cleveland with 4 hitters. Over under 9. I don't know. I'm going to go under here. Mini under 9. Pitchers are pretty good, not great. We'll see. Milwaukee and the White Sox. Milwaukee minus 185 and 8.5. Chad Patrick 1-2 with a 2.45. Sean Burke 1-4 with a 6 ERA. We'll go Milwaukee here. They got a good bullpen. They can hit a little bit. Milwaukee's got 5 hitters. Yeah, Milwaukee should take care of business here. Chicago's up to 7-23. Wow, they're really kicking ass. Oakland, Texas, both are 16-15. Texas minus 140, 8.5. So Oakland's a much better team this year. Jeffrey Springs, 3-3 with a 6.04 against Tyler Mayo, 3-0 with a 1.14. We got to go Texas, 2 units. 1.14. All right. Finally, night games. All right. Washington at Philly. The NFC Championship game. The Eagles minus 185 and 10. Wow. Brad Lord, 0-3 with the 4.67. Taiwan Walker, 1-2 with the 2.78. Well, why is the over under 10? I got a pitcher with the 2.78 ERA, and the other one's only got a 4.5. What am I missing? Washington only with 2 hitters, and Philly with 6. So Philly can hit the ball, as we know. So I don't want to go. You got to take Philly in the game. I'll go 2 units on that. Taiwan Walker 2.78, and you got 6 hitters. Washington's not hitting the ball, and this guy's a 4.67. Philly should light him up. Okay, we'll let Philly win. Boston and Toronto. We've got Boston minus 105, 8.5. The game is in Toronto. Tanner Houck, 0-2, 7.58. Where do they find this guy, and why is he still in the league? Jose Berrios, 1-1 with the 4.24. So you're the manager, and what do you think when you got a guy who's 0-2 with the 7.58? Well, why are you putting him out there? Why is he on your team and not in minor leagues? Wow. I mean, that's ridiculous. Toronto and Boston. Toronto 4 hitters, Boston 3. I got to go over here. I got to go Boston over 8.5 because it's only 8.5. You got two shit pitchers. They're going to kill the Boston pitcher with the 7.58. Now, superficially, we go that, but then what happens? The manager pulls him after 3 innings when he gives up 4 runs. And so then we need to hit the bullpen. And that's really what happens in these games is hitting the bullpen. So 8.5. Yeah, Boston, Toronto, they can hit the ball enough. These pitchers are so bad. So we will go there. Detroit at California. Detroit 19-12. California 12-17. Detroit's a 120 favorite, 8.5. KZ Mize 4-1 with a 2-1-2. Yuzi Kikuchi 0-4 with the 4-3-1. KZ Mize, not Detroit's a much better home team than road team. They got lucky yesterday. There was like an error. They got 5 runs on it. And that was all they scored in the game. They beat Houston like 7-4. See, that's where Houston had 2 hitters. They still scored on the Tigers. The Tigers cannot win in California, I believe, and Oakland. They can't win there. They're terrible on the West Coast. Casey Mize is not all that. He's good. He's better at home than he is on the road. Yuki Kikuchi 0-4. They both stink. I'm going to go over 8.5 here. Take Cal over 8.5. I think Detroit is going to hit this guy 4-3-1. But I don't think KC Mize is all that. And in California, Mike Trout's hitting like 120. Superstar. All right. That's like Mahomes going, 2 of 25. Ain't going to happen. So Trout's terrible. I don't get the hype on him. I don't get the hype on Omega or whatever the guy's name is, Otani. I don't get his hype. I don't get why he plays 2 positions. Insanity. And our last game, Colorado goes to the 49ers, and Colorado's 5-25, and they suck on the road. Look at the Niners, 275, 7.5. Kyle Freeland, 0-4 with the 5.93 against Verlander, who's starting to pitch better. He's 0-2 with the 4.70, but he's had a couple of good games where he's given up 1 or 2 runs. I got to take Verlander. I'm going to take the Niners. I'll play it for 2 units. They're going to crush Kyle Freeland. Let's see. Colorado 2 hitters, Frisco 3. I can't go under with a pitcher with a 6 ERA. Verlander will probably shut him out. So let's just go with Verlander. So let's go through it. 12:20. The first game starts at 12:35. So you got 15 minutes. First game, Pittsburgh under 7.5. This is my big play of the day. 3 units. Scanes against Ray. And Ray's got a .96 ERA, and Scanes is a 2.39. He's looking for shutout. So definitely going under 7.5 in this. We got Cincinnati. We got Tampa under 8. And then we got the JETS, Mets at 110. We got Zach Gallen against Kota Senga. Senga with a 1.26, Gallen with a 5.57. Mets are 2 units. We got Minnesota under 9. We got Milwaukee. Then we go Texas 2 units, Philly 2 units, the Red Sox over 8.5, California over 8.5, and the 49ers with Verlander 2 units. So the bets are Pitt under 7.5, and you got about 15 minutes on that. We got the Mets 2 units, Texas 2 units, Philly 2 units, and San Francisco 49ers 2 units. So it's an early day. You got 12:35, 12:40, 110. The Mets are 110. All these, and you finally Washington, Philly, where we took Philadelphia, is 6:45. Prophet, how you doing? I heard something very interesting last night. I'd like your opinion on it. Go right ahead. I that's what I live for. Interesting opinions. What is it, Prophet? Or is this an email? But you can ask. That's why I do it live. I look forward to these type of questions and comments so I can do something about them. Have you ever heard that gold and silver are being artificially held at a fixed 100-to-1 ratio right now, and that the true ratio is closer to 20-to-1? If that's the case, then we should see silver take a rise. Well, I don't think it's being fixed at 100-to-1. I believe it is, well, gold's taken a hit yesterday, and it went from 33.30 at about 10 o'clock to 32, or about 7 o'clock to 32.10, and it's like 32.10 right now. So it's dropped 100, but it's not a ratio. Is just, it's bullshit. Again, it's all done by derivatives. Is the true ratio, let's say it's 10-to-1. So you got a gold mine, a silver mine, and you dig for the gold, you get 100 ounces. And when you dig for the silver, what they're saying is you should get 10 ounces. It should be a 10-to-1 ratio. What's happening is now you dig 100 ounces of gold, you get 1 ounce of silver. Right. It's not really meaningful, because who the hell knows? Because it's been held down by derivatives, you can't really even look at it and say, oh, well, it's been held down by derivatives, so therefore the real ratio is 10-to-1. So let's buy silver because it's at 101 and it should catch up and go to 10-to-1. Well, I agree with that theory, but I don't agree with the ratio. My theory on silver is it's being price fixed way too low. Silver's $32 an ounce. Gold's $3,200 an ounce. Why is silver $32 an ounce when gold's $3,200? Silver should be at least $500 an ounce right now. So without looking at a ratio, I don't give a shit about the ratio. I know, but we understand JP Morgan is doing derivatives to keep the price down, like we saw Eddie Murphy. That's why I showed you Trading Places, where they're, the price for orange juice was 102. It goes up to 142. They sell it at the 142 and it goes down to 29 after the government says, no, the weather didn't hurt it. The supply of oranges will not be reduced, so therefore it's normal, and the price showed $29. And therefore, if the price showed 29, excuse me, is that the real price of orange juice? No, it's a bullshit price based on derivatives, not the market. If I sell this on eBay and I get $10,000 for a new rookie card, and you're telling me, well, it's 6-to-1 to Hank Aaron's rookie card. Well, that's just, that's not real. That's just the way it is. It's just, I can't think of a word. It's just hypothetical. It just happens to be 6-to-1. So I don't know that silver's 10-to-1 of gold and the 100-to-1, but it's being price fixed by JP Morgan. So we know the story. We're waiting for July 1st, and then they have to do Basel III and settle. So what happens now is they're not settling silver. They just keep pounding the derivatives. People ask for delivery. They're not giving it to them. And so so they're not running out of inventory. Gold, they've run out of inventory on. So is 10-to-1 the real value? You'd probably have to go back to the Romans and see what they did on the Appian Way, or we can go to Caesar's and see that and try to figure out what's going on as far as what did the Romans do gold and silver at? right? And that's really the point of it. The Romans, but what do you dig it out of the ground at? I don't think it's material. I think it's like comparing. Well, it's like comparing here. So how can you compare Cal Ripken's rookie card in a 1968 Topps Hank Aaron? Is there any comparison? Absolutely not. If this card goes for 1,000 and this card goes for 2,000, and now this card's at 10,000, you're saying this card will be five? No, they're independent. Just like gold, silver, and the dollar are independent. These are independent. It's based on demand for Cal and for Hank Aaron. The demand will trigger what the price is worth. And then, of course, the PSA 10 or whatever. Well, we'll assume these are both PSA 10s. So they're not related. They just happen to be two different baseball cards. So with that token, does gold and silver related? And are any of them related to the dollar? And I say no. Gold is its own thing, just like the baseball card, a Rolex, the Van Gogh over here. I can figure that out. That's the Van Gogh. If I, they're all independent. This is Canadian Club. All right. Does it related to Seagram's? Not really. There could be a lot more demand or a lot less demand for this than Seagram's, than Dewar's, than any of the whiskeys you want to Maker's Mark, the Scotch, Black Label. It's there's a market for whiskey, but one doesn't determine the price of the other. So gold doesn't really determine the price of silver because of this ratio. It's a bullshit comment by somebody who, you're living in a price fixed world since 1971 with these derivatives. Keeping silver down is their goal. You can't say 10, it just happened to be 10 to 1. It's not really 10 to 1. Oh, well, it comes out of the ground 10 to 1. Does it really? I had the same thing with the Bitcoin guy at the Toyota deal. So I was getting my oil changed. So I haven't told you these stories yet. So that was on Tuesday. It wasn't on yesterday. And, I said to him, he says, there's 21 million Bitcoins. I says, how do you know? Can you show me a Bitcoin? No. You can't show it to me. How do you know there's 21 million? Oh, because the guy says so. Oh, okay. There's 21 million Hank Aaron. No, there's 10 million. The only card I know what it is my Iserman. The red label I know is 1-on-1 because it says so. This is the only time I have a fact of knowing how many there are. 1 of 1 because it says so. Otherwise, I don't have how many of these. I have no idea. Even if it tells you, well, there's only 20 PSA 10s. Well, this could be a PSA 10, but it hasn't been graded yet. There goes your argument. So I'm not going to say, I'm going to say silver I'm buying because it's extremely undervalued, because as the dollar's sinking, the silver's not going up. The silver should be going up, but it's not. And that's all you can say is silver undervalued? Is Hank Aaron undervalued? Not looking at Mickey Mantle or Willie Mays. Is Hank Aaron undervalued? You can't say, well, he's 2 to 1 to Willie Mays. That's just a fluke. You can look at the price and say it, but you can't really, there's no evidence to it. So there's no evidence that silver should be there. They're not keeping it at 100 to 1 for any reason. And I can't tell you 10 to 1's the proper thing. Can I tell you silver is underpriced? Yes. The silver price is here in COMEX is 32. I can tell you that. I can tell you the same thing with gold. I can't tell you that with Picasso, and I can't tell you that with Rolex, because those are done at a free market. They're not doing derivatives pushing the prices down on Rolex or on that, right? I'll show you on eBay, right? Excuse me. So here's a Rolex Dweller. It's 820,000. JP Morgan is not price fixing this. This is what the market is on it. 820,000. There's white gold and diamonds in it. Is that the real price? Well, I don't know, but that's the price on eBay. But then we compare it to where's my other Rolex? I know I had two up here. I don't know where the second one, 820. I think it was 530. Anyway, we can do it with gold. So here's South African 856 for quarter ounce, and here's the Eagle 892. Oh, we could look at the ratio, but these are random. These are different prices. That's it. Profit. Why does it look so dark there today? Where? In my place? It's cloudy. It rained. Sun's not out. You should be able to see me though. Feels like one of your nighttime sessions. Well, it's just. I mean, it's a very cloudy day out. I'll show you. There just isn't any sun. So I might have had them closed a little bit, but no, it's 12 o'clock right now. Okay, so it's just cloudy out and I didn't have the window open, but you can see me and hear what I say. So here's a Tom Brady rookie that I have, 165,000. And then here's the Tom Brady, which I don't have, is 4.5 million because they only made 10 of them. They're both his rookie card. You could put a correlation that's 4.5 million versus what was it? Versus 165,000. But it's just bullshit. It just happens to be, but it's not a real correlation. You can't. Here's Babe Ruth, 33,333 for his Gaudi card because it's not even great. It's just graded authentic. But when we go to the Mantle rookie, it's 54,000, but it's a PSA 1. Can we compare it and say, well, look at the ratio? No, they're all individuals. Everything I have in my watch list, Mantle, Mahomes, Rolex, they're not related at all. They're all different items with different values that people will bid on them, which is fine. But so when we bring up gold and silver and you're saying, well, silver's 10, silver's 100 to 1. They're not trying to keep it at 100 to 1. Will the real value be 10 to 1? I don't know. Should it be 10 to 1? I don't know. It's going to be based on demand. As gold gets more expensive, and it will, and silver's still not moving because the bullion banks will all go out of business if it hits $35 an ounce because they'll have to cover all the derivatives and they don't have the silver to cover it. They're the ones keeping it, the JP Morgans, the Goldman Sachs, the bullion banks, that HSBC, the Hong Kong one, that's all mafia. They're the ones who are going to lose their ass when silver. So my vision of what's going on with gold and silver right now Gold jumped up to 30, almost 3,500, and it's jumping back. Now, maybe it should have been at 32 and it just jumped to 33 and jumped to 34. I noticed China's not buying, or in Asia, there's a lot of selling. Is this Japan? Is this Korea, Hong Kong, Singapore? Who the hell was selling here? Maybe it isn't China. Who's doing the derivatives? I don't think Japan. Maybe it's Vietnam or Korea. It's one of those Asian countries at midnight. It's probably not China, because they have never, it's always gone up during the night when China has it. So China's knocking it down. Europe gets it. They're kind of playing around, and the U.S. are actually buying it because they want to. So is this because the U.S. has no gold and is trying to buy gold? This is more likely that somebody wants to buy gold and they're lowering the price to buy it, right? So you want you want the Mario Lemieux rookie card. Well, I'd like to pay $10 for it. Oh, okay. Well, I'll do shorts on the derivatives until it goes down to 10, and then you can buy it. That's about the same thing happening to gold and silver. Well, I'll do derivatives and knock the price down. Well, that's not legal. Legal is free market. We're in America, not this bullshit. But they're all unrelated. There's no relationship to gold and silver that you can say, well, the ratio is 10 to 1. So why isn't silver 320 an ounce? Because it's price fixed. We know the answer. We know it's because of the bullion banks going broke if they release it. So we understand that. So therefore, there is no, okay, maybe, and how the hell do you know? It's 10 to 1 out of the ground. So if I find a mine and I dig, and I'm going to find 100 ounces of gold and 10 ounces of silver in the mine. Really? And every mine is going to be the same? See, I find that hard to believe. It's the demand of us who should be determining the price. So as gold gets more expensive, gold's now 10,000 an ounce. Geez, I need to get out of money. I got to buy precious metals. But gold's so expensive. Oh, silver's a precious metal too. And okay, I'll buy silver. Who knows where the prices end up? It's based on the demand that everybody realizes that these are worthless. These are both toilet paper, worthless wallpaper. They're not real. They're not worth shit. What are you going to buy with this? You can't even buy a pack of gum anymore for this. And this won't even buy a coffee at a Starbucks in France. These aren't any value. They've gone. So when the stampede happens and everybody realizes the Titanic's sinking and they all run to the lifeboats, and that's what you got with the dollars, they're sinking. Everybody's going to run to the lifeboat. There's only 2 lifeboats, gold and silver. Bitcoin is not a lifeboat. You can think it is until the dollar goes out and the Bitcoin has no value, if it lasts that long. And then the other question is, why is Bitcoin the only crypto that has a value and all the rest are $100, or Trump's is at 5 or whatever? Is the Gretzky card worth anything, or did they print too many of them? Well, it depends. What Gretzky card are you talking about? Are these precious metals measured by weight or volume? Well, precious metal is well, it's not measured. If you have it, it's an ounce, right? So it's an ounce of gold. But when I give you the amounts, I'm giving you total. So I'm saying there's 210,000 tons of gold in the world, for the whole world. But the ton is 32,000 ounces. So if you have an ounce of gold, that's what the price we see. This 32.30 or whatever that gold's at now is an ounce of gold. The silver is at $32 an ounce, and silver is getting hammered also. So what's really going on? And why are gold and silver getting hammered? My feel is they've run out of gold and they've run out of silver. By lowering the price, people get scared and sell it, or people don't even buy it. Me and you go, thanks for lowering the price. Let me go out and buy another 20 ounces of silver, 100 ounces of silver. Let me go buy 2 or 3 ounces of gold. When I see it for sale, as I do now, I buy, but I understand what's going on. Most people don't. They see the price drop, and what do? They panic. People panic. They go, oh my God, gold's going down. It's 32. Oh, I got to sell. However, this does not affect the price, because if I go to the store and sell, a ton of gold, it doesn't move the price. That's why this short squeeze was a joke. Everybody in the world could buy 100 ounces of silver. It's not going to move the price of silver, because it's based on the derivatives. It's paper silver that moves the price. It's Eddie Murphy going, I'm selling frozen orange juice at 142 and it goes down to 29. Nobody bought or sold an orange or an orange juice or any of that. Nobody did that. It's all done by the bullshit traders, and that's the problem with gold and silver. So we know that's not real. Plus the analytics get involved, or algorithms. This is the digital problem that I see. So they're trying to get you to sell because they don't have any. So how do they get any? The only way I can get gold now is I need to sell it. Right? I need to sell I need somebody to sell gold to buy it. So in other words, I got to go into my guy's store, and Joe Blow had to come in with 10 ounces of gold and sell it, so he has inventory so I can buy it. And if Joe Blow doesn't walk in the store to sell his gold, he won't have any for me to buy. So I got to get him to sell. So it's a little bit of panic. If you don't know what's going on, you might take the bait and go, oh shit, I better sell my gold. It's 3,200. You don't want to sell your gold. I told the guy at Toyota, I'm never selling my gold. Because it'll keep going up and up and up once we get a free market, which is where we're headed. The dollar's worthless. And then the other catch is, this is worldwide. I show you a euro. If I had a yen or a yuan or a ruble, I would show you that. A Swiss franc, which I think I have one somewhere. British pound, all the African and all the other Asians. Pat can show us a Singapore dollar. But the whole world is going to need gold. The demand for gold is huge. So therefore, it's far over the supply. Therefore, price has to go up. So COMEX can do its little song and a dance till July 1st. Then they're done singing and dancing. But they're already done because it's already Basel III. They got to come up and pay off these derivatives. And if they don't, they either get kicked out, or we stop doing derivatives in COMEX and we start doing, okay, I got an ounce of gold. What do I get bid on it? Oh, $20,000. Yep, that makes sense. That's where it's heading. I told the guy at Toyota, I doubt it'll go to 50,000, because by then the dollar won't be worth anything, and the gold itself will be worth 50,000. And I kept saying, I'll come in. I'm having this argument with the Bitcoiner, and they always give you the bullshit. Well, I can't. How are you going to get $1 million of gold on an airplane? And I'm like, why am I doing that? At worst case, you got to do what Profit's going to do, and it'll be shipped, insured from a private shipper. I mean, that's how you're going to move it, versus Bitcoin, where it's in your wallet, provided it doesn't get lost. I was watching a lot of Bitcoin scams where they steal it out of your wallet. You don't really have it. The wallet goes to zero. The bank goes out. So if you're banking at Chase, all of a sudden they're out, and you're in Italy, and you say, I want $1,000. I'm gonna sell $1,000 of the Bitcoin. To where? Your bank's gone. The dollar's gone. Oh, you still got to go to an ATM. I thought you didn't have to. This is their whole. I says, but show me what a Bitcoin looks like. And he says to me, well, it's like showing you what the internet looks like. And I go, show me what the internet looks like. It's anything digital. Okay. The program itself is fine, but you can't call the program money. So we're on YouTube now, and the YouTube program. I can't show you. All I can show you on YouTube is the website. You can't even show me that on a Bitcoin. You cannot show me what a Bitcoin looks like. There is no website. I guess you get a wallet, whatever that means. See, digital works to do programming, to do an internet. It doesn't work with money or paintings or here, I'll give you a digital Cal Ripken. Who the fuck wants that? Nobody wants, I want the real McCoy. I don't want the digital. Well, I want the real McCoy gold. I don't want digital, and I don't want digital money. I want the real money. Well, yeah, but you don't use money now. Yeah, but I use a debit card, which pulls out of my account, which I'm doing for rent tomorrow. I went to the bank earlier to make sure I had enough money to cover rent, and I have a credit card. So I had to do that. So I had to go to the bank and give them money to do it. How am I going to do that with Bitcoin? How am I gonna, oh, I owe 500 for rent. How am I going to get the 500 into the digital world so that I can pay rent? I'm fucked. But they don't want to tell you that. Not only that, you can't even pay rent with crypto. You know, and then they'll get all excited. Well, this company will take crypto or that. You can buy a car with a crypto. And I asked the sales manager, can I come in and buy a Toyota with crypto? He says, no, I need money for it. See, so crypto's not money. You can't see it, but we can see this. We know what a Cal Ripken rookie card looks like. We do not know what a Bitcoin looks like. Period. End of story. So how's it going to keep the value when it's really not real? And you can say other things are digital, but not money, not the Van Gogh over here, right? That's real, right? Not digital. I got a Picasso, not real, of course. I showed you these before when I got back from Barcelona. So I got this, but I can hold it, right? I got this one. I can hold these, right? These are real. You're gonna give these to me digital, and you expect me to think they're real? No. I gotta be able to hold it and frame it and put it on my wall next to my Van Gogh poster. These aren't real, of course. These cost €5. So, I mean, I have these, and these goes into a frame and onto the wall, and that's fine. But I don't want them digitally. Certain things you can do digitally. Computers, fine. You want to do a financial statement, but you still got to see it, and you still got to type the numbers in. And I can't do that. You're going to watch a baseball game digitally? Really? Show me. You can't, because they're not. What's on YouTube is electronic, not digital. So if I watch a replay of the basketball game or the baseball game yesterday, I'm watching tape of something. So it's not digital. The digital money doesn't exist. They can say it is, and how it's got a 90. Why is it jumping to 97,000? Well, probably selling the gold and silver to buy the Bitcoin. But why? Bitcoin's got no value. Bitcoin's not real. So remember that. So precious metals are an ounce, a half ounce, a quarter ounce, tenth of an ounce. There's 20 of an ounce. That's how you determine. So if you have 1 ounce, if you have a 1 ounce eagle or maple leaf, they're worth what an ounce of gold's worth, the spot price. But that's determined by comex. So that's not the real price. It's worth much more. The volume is just how many there are. You know, it's like an egg's an egg. Well, I bought a carton, so I got 12 eggs. Yeah, but an egg's an egg. You just got 12. So you get a ton of gold. It's 32,000 ounces, but there's still priced in ounces. Just thinking about taking delivery of all that gold is making me a little nervous. Why is it making you nervous? What are you scared of? So it was like talking to Alyssa. She's shy. I go, what are you afraid of? Don't be afraid of what other people say. That's what I keep trying to tell her is stoic. Stoic is I'm speaking. I'm not afraid of telling you about the Cal Ripken rookie card, about gold, about my baseball and basketball picks. I'm not afraid of that. These are the picks. You like them or you don't like them. And I give you the Super Bowl winner and I give you Philadelphia and the over, and Philadelphia and the over win. I'm not scared to give it to you because I know I'm correct more than I'm wrong. And I got people that, like, the one guy comes in, he doesn't like my comments on Bitcoin. Fine, I don't really care. I'm telling you from the truth what I do, and you either agree or you don't agree with it. But I'm not going to be afraid to tell you that. There's nothing I'm afraid to tell you on here. I tell you, I go get the gas. I tell you about the area. I don't care if you don't like that I'm dating a Russian girl. Fuck off. I don't care. I don't come on. I'm not here for judgment, and I'm not here to get pacified or validated. I don't come on here to get validated. I come on here because I'm teaching, and I'm trying to help people and teach them, and that's really the key. So don't be scared. People are shy because they're scared. I'm scared what John will think, or Bill will think, or Susie will think, and you just can't live your life like that. You live the life, your best decision, and people will like you for being straight and being confident and being honest. Those people will like you. The other people who only care about what you say, even if you're lying about it, you don't want to be friends with them anyway, especially vampires. The idea of keeping it in my possession and not in a safety deposit box has got me a little concerned. Why? So I have gold in my possession. I'm not worried. I got it in a safe place, in a safe environment. You're not. So the first question is, does anybody know I have it? Besides you guys, but you don't know where I live. I live in Detroit, which is, 20 million people later, and it's spread out. You don't know where I live, but even if you did, you got to come in and you got to, I might take care of you at the door, and then, you got to find it and all this. But all right, Prophet, so you've got it in your house or apartment, whatever you live in. Who knows? Nobody knows. You know, and your girlfriend knows, and that's it. So nobody knows you have it. What are you worried about? Just keep it in a safe place, in a safe that, people can't just come in and walk. People aren't going to walk into your house and safe crack you. Maybe Bill Gates or these people that are rich that have really rich houses, like who is that basketball player that got broke, or football player got his house broken into when he was playing on a Monday night. Well, it was a very rich house with a very rich alarm, and people knew where he would be, that he wouldn't be home. Well, I'm sure somebody was in the house, and he had an alarm. It's probably an inside job by his girlfriend, I think. But nobody knows you have it. And if it's in a safe, professionals might figure out the safe, but they're not coming into your house. The true professionals aren't coming in. The more the kids are coming in, and they're just coming in, they see a $20 bill lying around, or they take your TV or stereo or something. If we even have stereos anymore. Your computer, your cell phone, stuff like that. But that's it. They're not really coming in. So they don't know. Now, okay, somebody finds out You don't have to keep it at your house. There's the storage bins that I see, these storage lockers. So check those out. Maybe they're $50 a month to get a small one. And then if you have the only key and they can't come in, then you do it. But I would still keep it under wraps, so it's not just 10 bars sitting there where it's in something that nobody knows what it is. So that's what I would do. But I think this is the concept of a bank. You put your money in a bank, and do you feel safe that, well, my money's at Chase, so it's okay. I know it's going to be there. But maybe it's not there. Try to get it, you can't, or it's not worth anything. So you got a bigger fear of holding your fear. I don't have a Canadian, is holding this. This is really what your fear is, and this is wide open in the open. So you got this at Chase Manhattan, and you got $500,000 in Chase Manhattan. Are you worried about getting it out? Are you worried that the price of the dollar, the value of the money is worthless? Because it is. But you think because it's in a bank, it's safe. It's not. It's not. It doesn't have a value. The government is printing it to death. It doesn't have a value, but it's there, so you can have 500,000 monopoly dollars just because they have 100 and a president on it. Doesn't make them worth anything. I mean, I went to the grocery store yesterday or the day before. I went and got something, and it was like $30. And I don't even know what I got. I think I got lettuce, and I got just a cantaloupe. I mean, it was a nothing grocery store. It was $39. That's my money doesn't buy me anything. So it's not really worth what it used to be. So your alternative is the lifeboats, the silver and the gold. And that's what you've got to realize. What else would you have it in, Profit? So let's say you got, instead of the gold bars, you got cash for it. What would you do with that? You got 500,000 instead of gold. What are you gonna do with that? Throw it in the bank. You think it's safe there? I mean, it's not. It's not your money as soon as you put it in. There is nothing safe now. The dollar has no value. The stocks, they're going to take your money. The banks are going to steal your money. The money itself, the government's printing away to nothing. You only have one option, is to get into the lifeboats, the gold and silver. That's your only option. That's the whole problem with the system. The system's broke. The money's worthless. So what do you do? So you're scared to have the gold at home? Well, then go get a storage place or a safe that is somewhere off-site. I would think if you had if you have a heavy safe in your house, nobody's going to carry it out. What are they going to do? Hold you at gunpoint and say, give me the combination or the key to open it? Has that ever happened to you before? No. So let's say you have it at Joe's Army Navy. There's a room in the safe, and you got your safe and the gold in that room. I mean, is that safe? I mean, is there really a safe place? Maybe Egon's in Switzerland in his Swiss mountain retreat where he's got the vault. Is it safe there? Okay, let's say it is. But I need to get to Switzerland to get it, right? I mean, I think maybe not. Maybe Egon I can say, cash in a gold bar for me and send me the money. Maybe it works that way. I don't know. That would be smart from Egon. Everybody having to travel to Switzerland. So I think actually you could send it to Egon and say, here's 10 bars, and I need you to put it in a safe in one of your vaults. And then he would give you a receipt, and it would have to come insured. So you send it to him insured, so you don't have to fly to Switzerland. And he gets it, he puts it in the safe, shows you the receipt. It's number 12345. And if you need it, you go, how do I get it? Oh, I can cash out a bar and send you the money. Give me your bank account, because you'd have to pay them to store it anyway. So that's probably the only option you have, is giving the bar to Egon and saying, if I need it, can you cash it out for me and send me the money, which I think he said he can do. So that's your alternative, is to send it to Switzerland. Then you don't have to worry about that, and it's safe in Switzerland. It's the one bank it would probably be safe in, because it's in the Swiss Alps, 100, 10 miles down into the vault. So yeah, it's probably safe there. He's not going to do anything with it. It's, even if they bomb it, it's so far down in the mountain, you'd be fine. So that's the other thing. So it depends how much you have. I don't have a ton. So if I did, I would probably visit Egon. I would be scared if I had a ton. I wouldn't put the ton in my safe. But for what I have, the safe's fine. It's a bitch when I travel. I don't know what to do with it when I travel. I bring like 3 ounces with me just in case of an emergency, but otherwise, it's there. The idea of keeping it in my possession and not in the safety deposit box has got me a little concerned. And yes, I don't know if it was Aaron Rodgers or Mahomes or Burrow, or it was somebody with the girlfriend. Could have been Rodgers. And I think the girlfriend, let people in and they were able to steal it. I don't think whoever did it didn't. I think it was not the nicest of girlfriends. So that could happen, but that was an inside job, so you're not going to tell anybody. When he was playing for Green Bay, someone broke into his house during a money. Yeah, like I said, I don't know if it was Rodgers. It wasn't. It was last year. It wasn't. He wasn't at Green Bay, but I'm not sure it was him. But it was a quarterback like him that he had the goal. He had money, and they broke into the safe and took it. But the girlfriend, I think, gave the alarm out, gave the security code and stuff like that. But that's a different story. You're not playing a Monday Night Football where everybody knows, oh, he's in Houston, he's not here. I'm gonna go, and because they don't know when you're home and when you're not home, and where it is. Where is your gold? Where's your safe? Your safe's not just sitting out. It's not like a TV. You're gonna hide it somewhere. Maybe you don't. Maybe you put the gold in the freezer. In aluminum foil, maybe they think it's fish, or in a Cool Whip box. So they don't know where your gold is. And you can put the gold in the fridge or the freezer, and you're fine. Will anybody even look in there? No, they're looking for a safe. And you might have brass in your safe. I've thought of that before. Then they steal, and they think it's gold, and it's brass. I got that one from Money Heist. Anyway, that's the point of it. So the difference, the stress level, is because you're not going to keep it at a bank, and you're not going to keep it in a safety deposit box at a bank. That you're not going to do. You can't put it at a government or a bank. So where is there another safety deposit box? I think the casinos, I know when I was in Vegas, Caesars has safety deposit boxes. So you would put it in there. Now they have safes in the room, but I don't trust those. But the safety deposit box is pretty good. So if you have a casino, maybe you put it in there, but I don't know how long you can keep it for, because it's more for the guests than just you going saying, hey, I want to rent out a safety deposit box for 5 years. But that's the point. You can't be, you got to be smart, and you don't advertise. Nobody knows where you live. Nobody knows anything about it. Nobody knows you have it. So you don't make it a thing. So that's one of the big things. But you just be careful. But again, this ratio, it's who knows? I mean, is it really 100 to 1? Is it really 10 to 1 or 20 to 1? It's just a number. Again, it's the ratio between, the Gretzky card and the Lemieux card. It's just a coincidence. It's 10 to 1, 20 to 1, 50 to 1. So that's what you really need to understand. I want to show you this idiot, the Secretary of the Treasury for the U.S. What happened to my other Rolex? So here's two Rolexes. Here's one for 5,900. Here's one for 11,000. They're roughly 2 to 1 ratio. It's just a coincidence that it is. A lot of Rolexes for sale. What you're going to find now is people are going to need money, and they're going to sell their assets. They're going to sell their Rolexes. They're going to sell their gold and silver, um, their baseball cards. They're going to sell whatever assets because they need a different way. They're going to start losing their job. They're going to need a different way. So they're trying to say how great everything is here in the U.S. And it's like bullshit. First of all, the money's not worth anything. Well, the inflation is only 3%. I mean, this is just lies. It's not 3%. I mean, how can they fucking say that? All right, so I'm looking for this Treasury Secretary. If I can find him. So the question, are the tariffs affecting Asia to sell out their gold? Well, they're only shorting derivatives, so I don't think that's the case. Where is this video? Or did I not like it? Sometimes I don't like it. That must be in my liked. All right, hold on. I watched this one, which is kind of like what a hedge fund is, and it's a little bit technical, but that's what like Larry Fink does in BlackRock and all those. All right, just 1 second. Let me find this fucking video. Where the hell is it? All right, hold on. Sorry. Anyway, it was the Treasury saying he's not an economist. I played it a couple of days ago. Oh, here it is. Okay.
What's the best oil to cook with?
Number 3, canola oil. If you can find organic, I always like to say, I'm not an economist, I'm an economic historian. And it's the innovation there. I think that private credit's a very new and interesting part, but it is happening outside of the regulated ecosystem. Right. And I always like to say, I'm not an economist, I'm an economic historian. And I think
So this is the bubblehead running the Treasury of the United States is not an economist. What the fuck is going on? Why would you, it's like going to a doctor? Well, I'm not a doctor. I just, I watch doctor shows on TV. I mean, seriously, I'm not an economist. I just looked at the economic history. Well, you don't know the whys. You can watch the Super Bowl. You don't know why Philadelphia won unless you study football. You have to know, well, their defensive line put pressure on Mahomes. But you can't just, you have to understand that. You can't just look at the game and go, yeah, Philadelphia beat them. They were the better team. They beat them because of their defense. So this guy's an idiot. He's not an economist. He worked for George Soros, which is sad enough. What Trump's doing with him, I don't know. And this is part of the big problem of government is they have these guys that are not, they're not qualified for their jobs, basically. So anyway, we won't go through that again. Let's see. 10 states in crisis as stores shut down, and Michigan's number 1. And I'm like, well, these stores are shut. I go, what is he talking about? They're not just to Michigan. There are stores shutting down because of Amazon or DoorDash. Here's a quick gun.
One way of buying gold is mining stocks, and gold mining stocks are massively undervalued today and will probably go up faster than gold. But remember, they have been standing still more or less since the mid-1980s. Gold has moved up dramatically since then. So it hasn't been a good investment so far. I think it will be. But the difference between physical gold is that you hold it yourself in a vault, a private vault outside the banking system, of course. Mining stocks are within the bank system. So there's a risk that something happens to the banking system, you won't get access to them. And also, of course, you have the political risk and you have the management risk, etc., when you buy gold in a company rather than your own physical gold. So from a wealth preservation point of view, and I view hold physical gold that you yourself have access to.
So let's relate that to Bitcoin. He's saying don't even hold gold stocks. You want physical. Well, so why would I hold Bitcoin? It's not physical. The government could just as easily. There's several things. One, it's all a fraud. 2, you can't. There's no internet. You can't get it, which could easily happen. 3, the dollar goes out to zero, and if the dollar goes to zero, this card will still have a value, but not in dollars. The value of this card, let's look at so the value of this card, let's say it's 50 grand. If the dollar goes out, this value of this card is zero. But because I physically have it, when they come out with a new dollar backed by gold, and it's worth $1,000 backed by gold, it'll still have a value. But if I have Bitcoin and the dollar goes out, what do I use for money? Well, I have Bitcoin. Well, big deal. Bitcoin's not going to give me, it's not real. It's digital. So when the dollar goes out and the Bitcoin goes to zero, I don't have anything physical to get in gold. My comment I said to the guy was, okay, I have gold. I can go buy a house. I can buy one of these Toyotas. Am I going to give you an ounce of gold for a Bitcoin? Never, 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 never. Yeah, here's the ounce. Oh, where's my Bitcoin? Well, it's here, but you just can't see it. So yes, it's up to 95,000 today. Why? Nobody knows. Supply and demand, bullshit. What is it? Show it to me. I can't. Do you have it in your hand? I can't. You're going to put it in your safe? I can't. Would you rather have the bars of gold in your safe or Bitcoin in your safe? Well, I can't really put Bitcoin in my safe. And if I ever forget my password, I can't even get to it. There's no password retrieval. So I don't know. I'm just rolling my eyes at the Bitcoin. I don't know why it's up so high and why my gold's down so high. I got a feeling that's the ETFs. It's also so people can buy it cheap. So when these prices get manipulated up and down, a lot of it is people want to buy it and they'll buy it cheaper. So I'll say I want to buy 50 ounces of gold. Can you lower that price for me so I get more bang for my buck? And that's obviously what's happening with gold now. And don't ever think physical gold's going down. It's not. This is paper gold. And that's what they want you to think. They want you to think physical silver, not regular silver, is going down. So if you don't understand and you think, oh, it's physical silver, it's not. And therefore, if it's not going down, then it's just paper silver. Well, I don't have paper. I got physical. That's why I strongly advise you to get the physical coin or bar, gold and silver, not this bullshit. Not these ETFs and not the stocks and not anything else. Again, if you own shares of Amazon, do you really have anything? Well, it's really not your shares. So, oh, I made money on Amazon. I made money on Bitcoin. Did you really? Okay, sell it. At what point do you take the profit? This is where we discuss gambling all the time. So if this goes up to 80,000, do I want to take profit? Well, okay, how do I do it? Oh, I put this on eBay and sell it. Oh, and there's a buyer and we agree and he sells it. I sell it to him and I get the money. I'd rather have the money than the card. I want to take the money and buy gold. Okay, that makes sense. However, how do you do that with Bitcoin? You can't. And a lot of things that are digital, you can't. It's not at things that are not at free market, you can't do it with. Profit. You notice Trump never talks about gold. It's always Bitcoin he's pushing. I did see something where he mentioned $10,000 an ounce gold. He has talked about gold before. He is a gold bug versus a Bitcoin. His meme coins that he put out for $60 a coin are worth $5 a coin. He's not a very smart man business-wise. He got his company from his dad, building buildings in New York. A moron could make money on that, right? And these are big buildings. So his casinos kept going broke. He didn't know how to run them. So he's not the brightest thing. This other guy I just showed you isn't even an economist. That's like starting a business without a CFO or CEO, somebody to run it and financially. And without that, what are you going to do? And this is the problem. If you have gold, it's all easy. You just buy the gold and you put it in your safe, and you wait for the price to go up. That's my retirement. I don't need life insurance. I don't need anything. I just have gold as my retirement and my life insurance and everything else. I mean, that's it. I'm done working basically. I get a good job, I'll go back, but basically I'm done working because I'm just sitting on gold and silver. I'm sitting on an Iserman one. I mean, these are my assets. So what do I need to work for? I can get more gold and silver. So I only go to work for more gold and silver. I don't work for anything. It's not like I'm trying to be the CFO now or run a company. It's the last thing on my mind. I'm trying to get more gold and silver. That's it. So that's my goal. But again, I'm older, so I don't. What am I going to do? I'm ready to retire, so that's why I'm really do things the way I do them. But it's just to get more gold. My whole focus now is more gold and silver. The more I can get, and I know you guys ask, well, what's the best? How much should I have? And it's as long as you have these, as long as you have this, buy more gold and silver. When you run out of these or you have a little bit left for bills, that's when you stop. That's what I've done. So I have some in the safe and then money, and then the rest of the safe is gold and silver and the cards, and that's what's in my safe, and that's it. Nothing at the bank, very little at the bank. It'll go to rent tomorrow, I guess, and that's it. So that's all you're looking at, and but you have to understand it, right? So I'm trying to teach you to understand it. The key is the money's worthless, right? So the first key that you must understand, this has no value. If you keep printing it, it's at no value. Now they'll say, well, people will lose confidence in the dollar. Well, if you keep printing it, so how much confidence is there in my Iserman 101 card that it's valuable? But let's just say this was 100,000, one of 100,000. How much confidence that this would have value? None. It's only valuable because there's only one. And you've printed 150 trillion of this. How much confidence is there in this that it has a value? Anybody that knows, none. But they fake you out and they say, well, it's inflation. Inflation's 3% or 2%. And you're like, the fuck you talking about? Inflation is not 2 or 3%. I explained this to Alyssa yesterday. He says, you can't, inflation is not measured in percentage or in prices. That's the thing. Inflation is measured. It's not a measurable thing. How many did I? So I printed, how many of these did I print? So there's a lot of Hank Aaron's going on. You don't know how many, but what you do know is if it's a PSA 10, there's only 10 or 20 of them, or PSA 9, maybe there's 100 of them. There's not a lot of these in good condition. So that's what makes the value go, is the fact that as a PSA 10, they're worth a hell of a lot more. So this is like a PSA 1. This is like that Mano rookie we saw, 54,000 for the PSA 1. That's the difference. That's what this is. There's too much of it, therefore there's no value in it. I know people are kind of like, well, it's got 100 on it and a president. Well, that doesn't mean it has any value. The only reason money has value is it's backed by gold and silver. And as soon as it's not backed by gold and silver, it doesn't have a value. That's the simplest thing to understand. There is no value if it's not backed by anything. So keep that in mind. What else?
If If you buy gold bars, they all have serial numbers. That means that when the bars are stored for you by a company like our company, you get a warehouse receipt with the serial numbers, the number of bars, what type of gold it is, the weight, etc. Then you know exactly what you have. If you buy paper gold, then you have no serial numbers and you don't have your own bars. So that's a great advantage of buying your own gold or getting somebody to buy it for you and store it for you. And you've got a warehouse receipt that confirms that these are your gold bars and you can go and check them personally. That's the only way to buy gold.
If I were to leave tomorrow.
So when you get these gold bars, Profit, they should have serial numbers on them. And if they don't, that could be a red flag. But I think when you get them, you need to take them to a store, a jewelry store that sells gold, and have them test it. First, I would try the magnet on them, of course. And if it sticks, you got big problems. If it doesn't stick, and it probably won't, then you try to get that. But they should have a serial number. So here's a 1 kilo, but you look at it and you can see Swiss, 1 kilogram gold, and there's your serial number, AA001. So if it doesn't come like that, you got a problem because it's got to have a serial number. So be careful when you do that, Prophet. That's what you got to look for. So gold is not magnetic. I thought it was. No, and neither silver. So I've already showed you, but I can do it again tomorrow. If you take a magnet and you take your silver or gold, it won't stick. If it does stick, it's not real. This does not stick. So when you buy jewelry, be careful. Take a magnet with you. If this sticks to the magnet, don't walk to the exit. Run to the exit. You're in a counterfeit store that he's trying to sell fake gold as real gold. So that's why I recommend buying the coins, because this cost me $500. It's 1 ounce of gold. But gold was $250 an ounce at the time. I don't think it was $500, 1995. And for the $550 I paid for it, I could have got 2 coins, 2 1 ounce coins, which are now worth $3,300, $6,600. This is worth 3/4 of an ounce because this is 18 karat. So I'd rather not. If you're going to buy for the gold, buy a coin or a bar. Do not buy. In fact, buy the coin is probably the most demanded. But jewelry, yeah, it's your wife or your fiance, and then you don't really care. But if it's just to buy, this was my own graduation present to myself for my master's, and it was, that's a one-off. Where otherwise, like now, I just buy coin, 1 ounces or half ounces or whatever. Hey, Nick. Comex games are at an all-time high today. Yeah, just need to ride it out. Well, China normally doesn't sell. They've been selling the last 3 or 4 days. And basically, the thing with Comex is nobody's selling physical gold. Like Hank Aaron, nobody's selling the card. They're selling the derivative of the option of the card. And so it goes down. The only reason Comex is going down is because of it's price fixed, and it's the options / derivatives, and they're shorting them. And really the only reason is I assume they make some money on the options. I don't really know how that works on gold as opposed to stocks. on stocks, you think Amazon's going to go up. You do an option. It's more risky, but more reward. And you buy it at 100. And then you have so many days, and then you're going to sell it at 125, let's say. So you have a month, and otherwise it expires. And so with gold, they're shorting it like trading places. So it's at, the gold was at 3,300. Now it's down to 32 something, 32 and change. And I don't know how long they have to hold it, but you can see this. So they're going to make $100 a contract. But but really, to me, it's more, I can buy it cheaper because they use COMEX as the buy signal. This is the price we're going to sell it for, is based on COMEX's price. So if COMEX is 3,200, that's what the dealers sell it for, and therefore you can buy it at 3,200. Well, you're going to pay a premium. You're going to buy it at 3,300, but it's better than when it was 3,400, and you had to pay 3,500 for it. So that's the games COMEX is playing. They're shorting it to get the price lower to buy. And that's and everybody, and also I think they're trying to scare you into selling your gold and silver, thinking, oh my God, it's going to collapse, it's going to go to zero, and therefore I have to sell it. And that's what they want. They want your gold and silver because there isn't any left. So if they lower the price, they'll get the people who don't know what they're doing panicking. It's the same thing with Bitcoin. Bitcoin slid from like 100,000 to 90 to 80 to 75, and now it's back at 95. Why is Bitcoin 95? I don't know, but it was probably to get people to sell it, I guess. But it can't just keep going up. People needed it, and it's the same thing here. I don't know why the stock market's up today. Don't listen to inflation at 3%. That's a joke. But this is the whole Ponzi scheme in the matrix that you guys are in. I'm out of the matrix. That's the whole matrix. Well, let's just say we're not in the matrix, but everybody else is. And that's the point. It's people just believe what they're told. If the government says inflation's 3%, well, I don't even know what it is, so I'll agree with it. It's not. You can't measure inflation because it's money printed. It's not prices. And if it was prices, as I said at Toyota, you would have to go back to 1971 when we got off the gold standard. And so we did the math at the dealership, and I go, well, what was you didn't even have Camrys in 71. So let's say just a regular car A, 1971 was $2,500. Now the average, he said, is 50,000. So it's 2,500 to 5,000 is 100%. And you keep going, and it's 10,000, and it's, you got to get all the way up to 50,000. Is that 3%? I just gave you 100% going from 2,500 to 5,000. You can't just ignore that you've been printing money without gold since 1971. And who says you're supposed to look at only 1 year? So I don't look at, I don't look at, Canadian Club here. So what was the price? Well, this used to be $5 a bottle before. Now, last year it was $75 a bottle. Oh, this year it's $75 a bottle. Oh, so inflation's zero because last year and this year they're the same price. No, it's because people can't afford it, and the market's done, and people don't have the extra money. But you have to go back to 1971 when this was $2. From $2 to 75 is how you got to measure inflation. So they just throw this out there. Well, inflation is really just year over year. That's how we're going to measure it. And we won't measure things that have gone up a lot. And you want to listen to this 3%? Yeah, and we went to the moon also. And, 9/11 wasn't about gold, a gold robbery. And from what I learned about the Israelis, they're the ones who did it. I had heard that, and I couldn't connect the dots. Why would the Israelis do it? Now that I know that they run everything, I go, yeah, I guess it was the Israelis that did 9/11 and stole the gold. So again, it was a gold standard. But again, you're going to listen to the government. Why? What is it that you'd want to believe that they're telling you the truth? You got some idiot here who's the Secretary of the Treasury, doesn't have a degree in economics. Why would I listen to him? What is he going to tell me? Anything? Ecosystems, he says. Have I ever said ecosystems in the 5 years I've been doing this? Have you ever heard the word ecosystem come out of my mouth? What kind of fucking economists talk to ecosystems? So the problem is you listen to these guys. That's the problem. So you don't want to. All right. Before baseball gets off too far, the picks today, Pittsburgh under 7.5. That game's already started, but I gave it a half hour before. The Mets, 2 units, Texas, 2 units, Philly, 2 units, and the 49ers, 2 units. So the big bet was Scanes under against the other pitcher who was also a 1.0 ERA. So hopefully it stays low scoring. And that was 5-1. In the baskets today, my lock's got to be who's playing today? Let's check who's playing. So I love one game. The other game's but the other game, I love it. So I love San Diego over Denver. That's the big one. San Diego laying 6.5. It's do or die. They're down 3-2. They have to win. So should be good. And then Detroit and New York. Detroit's 1.5 favorite. Detroit's got their back against the wall, but they're favored, and they're just not that good. So I like the Knicks getting points, but I love San Diego. And I loved Boston Tuesday, and I think it was Milwaukee yesterday. So that's what's going on in our world. So we'll see. Is China the reason that comex is going down? Do they need money? Are they going to do derivatives to get the money? Wouldn't they just sell physical gold and that doesn't affect the price? I don't know. But that's where China's headed, is the gold system. Again, July 17th, BRICS, I would think that's when they finally announce the gold back currency. It is already out. They are using it. China's trading with Brazil using the gold back, whatever they're calling it. Russia's trading with Iran. So they're all starting, Saudi Arabia, to use this. When they trade amongst themselves, there's no longer the US dollar, and they're just trading with this new currency. So it's out, but they don't say it's out. It's kind of funny. And then you've got, and then July 1st, you've got the Basel III and Tier 1 for silver and gold in the U.S., but gold's already Tier 1. So what is happening now is JP Morgan refuses to cover the people who are buying the gold and silver. So when you buy the gold and silver on COMEX and you take delivery, they're supposed to give you the physical gold and silver, and they're not doing it because they're crooks, basically. So that's what you got to understand. With Basel III, they'll have to do it. Right now, they don't. So they just say, oh, yeah, we owe it to you. They're 30,000 tons behind, but they don't have to legally settle. But that's what's going to change July 1st. So we've hit May 1st, 2 months away. Gold ran up. This gold running down, just think of it as Bitcoin. It was 100, went to 75. Now it's back to 100. Gold will jump back to 3,500 on the way to 5,000. Again, I don't know why you've got to cover, you've got to, send to the people who have asked for the gold. You've got to come up with it. So I don't know what they're doing. Just seems really strange. So what I don't like about Mark McGuire, he won't cover it because it happened like before. So his show comes out on Wednesday. So maybe he has it. I don't know. But, there's really something crooked. I think month end, they want the price to come down. So they use that gold price at the end of the month is the price they use. So they tend to push it down. What else? So brics, July 17th, comex, July 1st. Buy and buy and buy as much as you can now. You don't have a risk. It's not going down. I mean, okay, it went down $100 yesterday, but that's, I think let's see what has happened. Has it bottomed at 3,200, or are we still going down? All right, so it never got under 32. Right, it got down to 32.08, and then people bought. And it went up to 32.30, and then went down to 32.08, and then it got bought. And now it's at 32.13, probably headed to 32.08. But you notice it's not falling. It's not keep going. Now the people go, okay, now I'm going to buy. So there's a lot of buyers out there. Silver, 32.19. Who the fuck knows? Just take advantage. So my theory is there's buyers out there. They're letting it run. Okay, 32.08, we start buying. Now, why am I so confident on gold and silver is because A, it's extremely limited. B, there's huge demand. So if I have 100 people wanting this, I'm going to get a lot more for it. The best is this one. If I have 5 people wanting this, I'm a rich man because they only made one of it. So it's one of one. So as long as I get 2 people interested, I have a bidding war going on. If I get 10 people and I'm not working again. So here I might need 20 people because it's a 1968. Mario Lemieux, I might need 20 people interested to have a nice bidding. But as long as I have demand, the price will go up, right? If I got more people than I have card, I got one card, I got 10 people. As long as I consistently have the 10 people wanting it, they're going to bid the price up, like the Super Bowl tickets, right? So with gold and silver, why am I calm about it? Because we know that the demand is huge, because we understand that this whole function is because you printed this to death, which we can clearly see. And it was with the what's the oil dollar, the petrodollar. So the petrodollar is no longer being used. It's now they'll take any dollar, Saudi Arabia, and they're getting help from Russia is backing them like the US did. So they're fine. So because of this being printed to death and no more petrodollar, and now BRICS is trading amongst each other where they had to use the dollar before. So if China wanted to trade with Brazil, China would sell their yuan for dollars and take the dollars to buy Brazil, whatever Brazil's dollars are. That's not happening now. Now, China just trades straight to Brazil. There's no more need for the dollar. So you have all this printed dollar that's out there that nobody wants. That's why the value of the dollar and the price of the dollars, same thing, is gone. But because this is printed to death and the BRICS countries are all using gold-backed currency, the demand for gold is through the roof. All the central banks in BRICS are buying gold. Most of the people realize that the dollar's gone and they're buying gold. Or they're just like, well, what we're doing. You know, if you have 100 grand in cash, you're just getting rid of it and buying gold with it. I mean, because the dollar's going to zero and the gold's going to the moon. So as long as we know the dollar's worthless and it can't be fixed, and it can't, the only way you can fix it is to back it by gold. Well, that still leaves you demand for gold. So you can't, because that's the only thing that can save the U.S. is gold, to raise the gold price to pay off your debt. There's no other way to pay off the debt, because you can't print 37 trillion of these. Otherwise, they would have done it. You can't do it because then if you print it, they're worthless. Just like if you print, 10 trillion of these, they're worth $1. Like you see that with like some of these rookie cards that aren't worth a lot, like Bobby Bowe's rookie card, way undervalued, Bobby. But it's because they printed too many of them, and there's not that much demand for it. So if we know that's the case, we know everybody has to go to gold and silver. That's your choice. Out of the dollar, out of the euro, out of the Swiss franc, out of the British pound, out of the yuan, the yen, Pick a country. They're all not backed by anything. They're all worthless. So to get out, they got to buy gold. So the demand for gold is huge. And then when it gets too expensive, they'll all jump into silver, because that's money too. Forget the fact it does solar panels or electric car batteries. It's money. And at the end of the day, that's what people will want. Gold will get too expensive. They'll jump into silver, because that's money. That's the only hope. So knowing this, knowing that's the game, and knowing the demand for gold will never stop, because there's no alternative. It's the only lifeboat. The Titanic's sinking and you got to get off the boat or you're going to drown. Well, you go into the lifeboat. And our lifeboats for money is gold and silver, because you can't print them. You cannot print gold and silver, therefore it can never be devalued, because there's always going to be more demand for the gold and silver than there is, because everybody has to get out of the dollar to survive, to eat. You need real money, and the dollar, what are you doing printing it to zero? So because they did that, they fucked everything up. So the way out is gold and silver. And that's why we know the demand's there. We know the price. This is bullshit today. Again, as I said, the comex game, it's just bullshit. It's not. Nobody sold an ounce of gold. Okay. China's getting hit with tariffs. They didn't sell an ounce of gold. Even if they did, if somebody sold a ton of gold, would not make the price go down, because the price isn't derived by supply and demand, free market. It's derived by JP Morgan price fixing it with derivatives. So it's a price fix. It's not real. So therefore, nobody sold an ounce of gold makes it go up, or if they bought an ounce of gold makes it go down. That's why that stupid silver squeeze a couple of weeks ago had no impact on it, because that's not how it's priced. Yeah, this is priced by the market. My Canadian club's priced by the market. A Rolex is not gold and silver. It's not priced by me selling it to you and you buying it. That's not how they get the price. It's derivatives. So therefore, the demand for gold and silver is huge, which is going to force the price up. And as I said, we know that doesn't make it, but with comex and the games, they're going to have to pay at the end. They're going to have to, people who take delivery, they're going to have to pay them, and it's going to be a much higher cost. So eventually the gold runs out, the silver runs out, comex is gone. No more price fixing. Here comes free market. I'm going to sell it to you and you're going to buy it. And that's much, much higher. Like I say, gold's up here and comex is here. Same with silver. So we're sitting up here and they're down there dicking around. So that's the point. All right. I think that's it. Any other questions, comments, critiques? I just gave you baseball and I just gave you the basketball pick for tonight. I think it's San Diego over Denver, I think. And I like the Knicks as the dog. Off of a loss. I like that. So anyway, basketball more than football, because basketball has these series, football doesn't. You bet the team that's got their back against the wall. They're down 2-1. If they lose, they're down 3-1. We better bet them. They're down 3-1. We got to bet them, because then if they lose, they're done. They're going to give you the best effort. They might not win, but you're betting on that they're going to be very mad and strong today. And that's what you're looking at. So they'll come out emotional. And you hope that's enough. Prophet, your NBA picks have been red hot lately. Yeah, thank you, Prophet. Yes, and like I say, I can't name 3 guys on a team, but I don't need to. It's all psychological. It's all the team, right? The other day, Tuesday, I was at Toyota getting my oil changed, and I'm giving out Boston. Boston minus 11 to Orlando. I said this is game 5. They don't want to go back to Orlando, and they beat them by 30 points. It was like 130 to 89. Or so 120 to 89. And I couldn't name one player on either team. It doesn't matter. It's just that's how it is. So, yeah, it's this is kind of a rare specialty I do. Is these playoff games are very easy to pick. Like tonight, was it San Diego's down 3-2 to Denver, has to win, but we had Denver last week, so it's not like I just. Who lost? Who needs the game? So you're blind by everything else. You're just going, San Diego needs the game tonight. Okay, we'll bet San Diego. Denver needed it the other night. We took Denver. Denver won. San Diego. Milwaukee, back against the wall, lost to Indiana, but their back was against the wall, and they did cover last game, even though they lost the series. But this is psychology. Baseball is too confusing because it's all averages and you don't know what they're doing. I mean, and they play too many games. Football, we have a very good eye for. It's once a week. We know the injuries. We know the matchups, who's got the defense. And I've killed football my whole life. Since the 70s, I've been, just hammering it. Prophet, the zigzag theory seems to work very well in the playoffs. It's not really a zigzag theory, although I don't know what that is. It's basically you're not necessarily betting the loser back. It's who needs the game. So if you're down 2-0 and you're at home, you need the game, but you still need game 4. So you win. Now you're down 2-1. You still need the 4th game. So I'm not zigging and zagging. More than likely, I'm taking the loser of game 1, getting 10 points, 5 points in game 2, hoping they lose but cover, and then jumping on them in game 3 because now they have to win. And it's only works if you got even games like the Boston killing Orlando. It doesn't work because Boston's so much better. However, in the other ones, Golden State yesterday, Houston was a 2 seed, and so they killed them. And the same thing here with San Diego and Denver. It's really not a zigzag at all. It's more who needs the game. And it was tied at 2. Denver had to win game 5. Where they go down 3-2 and lose tonight, and it's all over because the home team's going to win a majority of these. So now San Diego must win. That's the theory, not necessarily a zigzag. It's more whose back's against the wall, and you can clearly see tonight it's San Diego. They're down 3-2. They lose the series. The other part of it is Denver relaxes because they know, we can lose. We'll get them game 7 at home. They might not want to, but they know in the back of the mind, if we lose, so the coach might start taking, they're down 15 points. Let's rest the players so they don't get hurt. We'll get them in game 7. But the team that has to have it tonight, San Diego, There is no game 7. They won't let up. They'll realize they must win. Now, it doesn't happen every time, but it happens a high percentage. So that's really what I'm doing is whose back's against the wall and they need it. And Nick can verify my 35 unit lock with Golden State a few years ago when they lost game 1 after blowing a big lead. And here comes game 2. They go down 2-0. They're fucked. And they had to win it. It was a 3 or 4 point spread. That was the biggest lock I think I've had. I don't think I've had a football lock 50 units. Football's a little different because of the injuries. You're scared to go too much. But my other locks, obviously, gold and silver are going to the moon. Again, for the reasons I just gave you, because they have to. The demand's too much because you got to get out of the dollar. And that's really the biggest problem is people listening to the government thinking the dollar's good, thinking the stock market's good, thinking Bitcoin's real. This is the problem. People can't understand it for themselves. And who do they go to? They don't even know who to go to. That's all I say is make sure who you're going to. You should come to me with the questions like Prophet and Nick do, but you can't not know and then listen to, whatchamacallit, what's his name? Like Rick Rude. Like you don't know what him or the other guy, Jim Rickards. I mean, you can't listen to him. He's a Keynesian. You got to be careful. So when they do say they're economists, the next question is, are you a Keynesian or an Austrian? Are you in the free market or price fixing by the government? And if you're in a government controlling the market, don't run to don't walk to the exits and run. You don't want to listen to these guys. Jim Rickards like that. Rick Rule's like that. A lot of the Canadians are Keynesians. The British are Keynesians. And most of the U.S. are Keynesians. And that's why we run to the exits. We get out of the matrix as soon as possible. All right. Well, that's about it. I'm getting hungry. And 2:30, it's 2 o'clock. Swim at about 3:30, and that's about it. So we got basketball tonight. We got the baseball, and we got to watch our gold. But as long as gold keeps going up from 32, we've hit our bottom. Now here it goes. We get back to 34. About no worried about it. There's too much demand for it. All right. Anyway, have a good day. www.teaserking.com if you want to email me. Prophet does. Nick does. I haven't gotten from David yet, but that's okay. You don't have to. You just come here and ask your questions. All right. Have a good night, everybody. Good day anyway. Good luck if you're betting basketball or baseball. And I will talk to you tomorrow. www.teaserking.com.